All right. As always here on the Newport This Week video podcast series, we go behind the scenes a little bit on some of the big stories that are happening in town, on the island, in the paper in general. Today, the headline, BedJet CEO donates $2 million, a $2 million endowment to fight food insecurity, homelessness, and community hardship in the Newport area. Mark, I guess if you want to introduce yourself and we'll get this thing started.
Thank you, Bill. So I'm the CEO and owner of the BedJet company. I'm also the chief engineer. I invented the products that we sell here. I'm also a freshman Newport City Councilor. And so, I take a lot of pride and interest in our community. I love this community. This company has experienced stellar success and was born in Newport. And that success came out of Newport locals and hardworking local folks and their talent. The donation from us was really a recognition that this company has skyrocketed in this city. We sell in 40 countries right now. It's been a stellar success. And when you have that kind of success, you need to give back. And I'm so proud of my team and what we've been able to accomplish to allow us to make this kind of donation into the local community.
What's so important about this right now is we're in a moment where we're seeing a widening of the gap, so to speak, when it comes to issues like food insecurity, when it comes to issues like housing. And Newport, by and large, there are some great support structures in place. There's no question about it. At the same time, more is never a bad thing. And there's a lot of work to do in all of these areas. And it takes a philanthropic approach oftentimes to make it happen. So a $2 million endowment, it's going to support organizations like the MLK Center, the Child and Family of RI, Lucy's Hearth, Newport Mental Health, the Newport Housing Hotline, the Boys and Girls Club, and many others. How did you kind of tailor make this charitable donation so it could be targeted with the most impact?
Sure. So we started our private foundation in 2000 during COVID. And it was born out of my wife and I seeing a lot of hardship on the local island with a lot of different folks. BedJet was not affected by COVID. We were already an online, e-commerce type company. So, it didn't hurt us the way it hurt so many local businesses that were brick and mortar type businesses. And we also were relatively new parents at the time. My wife and I have three young kids that are now 6, 4, and 4. And, we looked at each other and we thought, my God, we know the pressure we're under as new parents. We're financially secure. Imagine what it's like to be in the shoes of a parent who is worried about putting food on the table or keeping shelter over their family or having the heat on during the winter. So that was really the genesis of BedJet getting on a philanthropic track. To date, we have donated $350,000 into the local community prior to the $2 million endowment. And it was very much a learning experience for my wife and I, who manage our foundation. We had to get to know the lay of the land in Newport. There are so many different nonprofits here. Some are cultural related, some are community support oriented, some are mental health oriented. We quickly settled on families with children, really, because we were new parents and we felt that was where we could have the most impact, and really where our hearts went out to the type of folks that we wanted to help. There's other organizations you could donate money to, that are preservation and historical building and mansions and things, and the cultural stuff is great, but you gotta address the bedrock of your people first. And so we have been very focused on children with families. And over the last few years, we really have become close to a lot of these community support organizations that have that mission.
It's administered by your foundation, this grant program, and organizations are encouraged to apply for it. It looks like March 31st is the deadline. What's that process consist of? How can somebody who's interested in applying get involved?
Sure. The first, they just email us and let us know who they are and what their interests are and what their mission is. The first screening for us is is this person or nonprofit or community support organization, are they aligned with the mission? And the mission is underprivileged children, families with children, and local to Aquidneck Island. And so that's the first screening we'll take, which is, are you addressing food insecurity or addressing homelessness, shelter, mental health issues, educational issues? We do want to keep it local because $2 million sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's a drop in the bucket for the challenges that we have in Newport and some of the surrounding towns. And so in order to make a difference and move the needle, we have stayed geographically focused to Middletown, Newport, Portsmouth, organizations that are consistent with that families with children mission and the core sort of human needs of those folks, or perhaps organizations that are headquartered here and may have a broader reach through the state.
One thing that you've also advocated for in your role as a freshman Newport City Councilor is for the city of Newport to increase its civic grant funding to community support organizations. For the first time ever, that grant funding has been increased by 85% for the budget year 2024. A lot of people probably don't even realize that this even exists, that this type of operation exists. Talk about that, just the civic grant aspect of things, or the funding formula there.
Right. So the city has historically had an annual budget towards civic grants, and most of those typically go towards community support organizations versus cultural, but there's a mix. I looked at it as an incoming freshman city councilor, and I said, wait a second. As an individual, I've donated more to these organizations than the city of Newport. Something's upside down here. The city really needs to step up. And Newport is one of those cities. We don't have a social services department, right? Many large cities will have some resource, some type of department in the city that looks after the folks in that community that are most at risk. We don't have that. And so we really rely on folks like the MLK and Child and Family and Lucy's Hearth and, Boys and Girls Club, all these great local organizations to pick up the ball and take care of that community for us. But I was very proud we're able to do that within the city. And certainly it takes 7 votes from city council. So I don't want to take all the credit for that, but certainly I think I played some role there.
There's no question those types of initiatives have a huge impact. And we talk about the social safety net oftentimes, and it's just this abstract concept, right? But really what it is a collection of municipal grants and funding, individual philanthropic donations, organizational, foundational donations, and generosity. But then there's so many layers after that in terms of executing, in terms of deploying those funds, identifying where the need really is. So this is a large infrastructure when it comes to just making the social safety net function in a meaningful way. And fortunately, we have that sort of philanthropic element that you provide and others. And I guess the last thing, and that sort of long preamble there, is what do you say to folks out there who aren't and who can and aren't necessarily contributing? You don't want to say their fair share, but their sort of moral compass is telling them I should be contributing more. What do you say to those folks?
Look, if you've been blessed with success and you wake up in the morning and you don't worry about your heating bill and your air conditioning bill and what you're paying when you go to Whole Foods or A Market, if you look at your credit card bills and you zero them out every month, right, and you drive a luxury car and you have all these wonderful things in your life, you got to give back. You got to give back. You have to recognize when you've been blessed. And this company, BedJet, the sun has shined on this company every single year since we opened the doors in 2015 in Newport. We have had growth every single year. When we started the foundation, we crossed over from sort of startup to too big to kill. And we're the #1 company in the world at what we do. And this company started on a kitchen table, right? In a little tiny 2-bedroom condo in downtown Newport. We've been blessed. We know it. That's why we're giving. If folks out there have a comfortable lifestyle, don't worry about a Saturday night dinner at the Cookhouse or the Fifth Element or any of our wonderful restaurants, and they just run that and don't even look at the bill. If you're one of those people, you got to give. You have to give.
Very, very well said, Counselor. Thanks so much for your time and for the work that you're doing. It's duly noted, and a lot of people ought to and probably do appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Bill. And I want to share the credit. This is not a Mark Aramli initiative. This is the entire team at the BedJet company. All of them enabled this success and created this success for us to be able to do this. So a lot of credit goes to the team over here as well.
City Councilor and BedJet CEO Mark Aramli, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Bill.